Hi all, this video will help you to know what are the deductions and what are the exemptions which are available both under the old scheme and the new scheme now called as the default scheme, section 115BAC. So let us quickly go through the list of the deductions or exemptions which are available to the assessee. So whenever you are filing your income tax return or when you are preparing for CA or CMA or CS exams, this video would be really helpful for you. Kindly go through the same and just sharing the screen of what are the deductions or exemptions which are available. So if you look at the screen, basically I have given you two columns. One is the old tax regime, other one is the new tax regime. So if you see, deductions under section 80C are available under the old tax regime, whereas they are not available under the new tax regime. Similarly, deduction under section 80 CCD 1B, which actually talks about additional deduction for employee contribution made to the national or notified pension scheme. This will be available under the old scheme, but not under the new taxation scheme. Similarly, deduction under section 80 CCD subsection 2, that is your contribution made by employer to the national pension scheme or notified pension scheme, is available both under the old scheme as well as the new scheme. Then comes your deduction under section 80D. Deduction under section 80D talks about medical insurance premium, which is available only under the old scheme, but not under the new scheme. Similarly, deduction under section 80E, which talks about interest on educational loan, is once again available only under the old scheme, but not under new scheme. So next, deduction under section 80EEB, which talks about deduction towards interest on vehicle loan, which is nothing but electric vehicle loan. So that deduction also is available only under old scheme, but not under the new scheme. In the same way, donation to political party or trust or any other fund or an institution which are covered under section 80G, 80GGA, 80GGB, and 80GGC. These deductions are available only under, once again, old scheme, not under new scheme. Similarly, when it comes to saving bank interest and interest on deposits for senior citizens, these deductions are covered under section 80TTA and 80TTB. These two deductions also will be available only under the old scheme, not under the new scheme. In the same way, if you take HRA exemption, very important exemption for salaried employees and as well as for the students. So HRA exemption is usually covered under section 10 subsection 13A of the Income Tax Act. Now this HRA exemption will be available only if you are opting for old scheme, not under the new scheme. So you have to be careful, especially for employees. I'm saying whenever you are telling to your employer, you have to be careful. If you have house rent paid, then better go and opt for old scheme instead of new scheme in order to avail the exemption under section 10 subsection 13A. In the same way, leave travel allowance, this also only for salaried employees. This will be available only under the old scheme. Then comes very important concept, very important issue for everyone, students as well as the employees, interest on housing loan. Generally, interest on housing loan is available as a deduction under section 24B. Now, this interest on housing loan, if the loan is taken for self-occupied house, then the interest on housing loan deduction will be available only under the old scheme, not under the new scheme. Whereas If the loan is taken for a property which is let out, yes, from which you get some rental income. Now, such interest on housing loan will be allowed as a deduction under both old scheme as well as under the new scheme. Please be careful with this one. Don't get carried away by someone else talking something else. Yes. Then comes your professional tax. Professional tax is allowed as a deduction under section 16 subsection 3. Once again, it is for salaried employees. It will be allowed as a deduction only under the old scheme, not under the new scheme. Then comes the exemption under section 10 subsection 10, that is talking about gratuity. It will be allowed under both old as well as under the new scheme. Apart from gratuity, you also have pension exemption for pension under section 10 subsection 10A. You also have exemption for 1010B, which is retrenchment compensation. You also have exemption under section 1010C, which is talking about voluntary retirement compensation. These all exemptions are available under both old as well as new. So in order to simplify, let me tell you the exemptions or deductions which I have mentioned for a purpose of comparison are only to be noted. That is whether to give it under old scheme or under the new scheme. All other exemptions or deductions are available under both the old and the new taxation scheme. Hope this video was very helpful for you. Kindly pass on the same and share it with your friends for their mutual benefit. Thank you so much.